A new defensive team has taken the meta by storm, and we're going to be trying out this Kommo-o Ting Lu team that's been popping up ever since its strong performance in the day one of the Liverpool Regional Championship. This is a team that Alex Gomez and Eric Rios, alongside a few other players from Spain, brought to the Liverpool Regional Championship. You have a really strong core just Incineroar, Amoonguss, Porygon 2, really solid for being able to have Trick Room, support of course with Spore, Rage Powder from Amoonguss. You have the Incineroar with, of course, Fake Out, Parting Shot, Knock Off, be able to get rid of items such as Safety Goggles to help out with the Amoonguss, and Porygon 2, able to do quite a bit with the download boost, able to potentially boost its special attack, but also even its physical attack. Tera Blast also hurts pretty hard with the Tera Poison, which gives it an option that's pretty strong into Ogre Pawns as well as Flutter Mane if it Teras. You also have the Choice Specs Flutter Mane, of course, a really strong pair. Flutter Mane, Amoonguss, Incineroar, Porygon 2, Incineroar, Amoonguss. Always just a classic pairing, and this team does lack the damage output, so having Choice Specs Flutter Mane is very helpful with Perish Song, which benefits from having a pretty defensive core. But the main two Pokemon that we have to talk about is going to be the Kommo-o and the Ting Lu. And the Kommo-o, because of all the physical attackers in the format, Dark Urshifu, Water Urshifu, all the fire types like Incineroar, Heart Flame, Ogre Pond, Rillaboom, which is a grass type, but still get my point, Entei. A lot of physical attackers out there, and with Iron Defense is able to do quite a bit of able to just boost its really high physical defense, which is already base 125, but massive damage output with that body press, which is also the same type attack bonus body press that matters quite a bit. We have the Overcoat that is able to ignore opposing Amoonguss from the Rage Powders and the Spores, which is very nice, but alongside having the Terra Steel Iron Head to cover for the Flutter Mane, which is Kommo-o's biggest fear in the format. Alongside, we have Ting Lu, which is also a pretty strong mon here because it's able to help against Kommo-o's weakest matchups, which of course is going to be the damage output of like Flutter Mane Chi-Yus, as well as potential stuff like the Iron Crown and Indeedee Psychic type moves, which Ting Lu is just very strong against. We have the Assault Vest with Snarl and Ruination for support that allows you to dish out quite a bit of heavy chip damage with that Ruination, as well as Snarl to prevent the special attackers from hitting the Kommo-o alongside the Vessel of Ruin. This is a recreation of the team with my own Eevees, so if you would like to check out the details, or if you would like to check out the original creators of the team, they'll be linked in the description down below. Blood Moon Ursaluna with Flutter Mane, Wellspring, Ogre Pond, the Urshifu, Farigiraf, and Entei. Okay, Blood Moon Ursaluna is a little bit of a threat, but Ting Lu does generally pretty well against these teams, and Ting Lu is actually fantastic here. I don't know if I want to bring... Let's see, how do I want to approach? Amoonguss isn't bad here. Ting Lu's really, really good, so I probably want Amoonguss. I definitely want Ting Lu in this matchup, and I want to lead it? Probably. It's really strong. I think Incineroar Ting Lu is actually a pretty good lead for the most part, so we'll try out Ting Lu plus Amoonguss. Do I want Porygon? Because Porygon's like, okay, I guess it doesn't really do much realistically damage-wise. It can kind of sit there. I'm probably not going to Tera the Ting Lu unless I get into a really, really awkward position against the Flutter Mane. I think Kommo-o because I want to break through the Wellspring Ogre Pond quickly in Amoonguss, because Porygon is like, okay, it sits there and the chip damage isn't too bad, but I kind of want pressure. That's the thing, because I don't really pressure. I think over a long term, depending on like if it's like nasty plot for Farigiraf, but it's probably helping hand support, I imagine, with Blood Moon to get a little bit ugly. I don't think the Trick Room's super valuable in this matchup because it's not really necessary. I know Amoonguss is really necessary for the Pollen Puff because Ting Lu is a win condition, so I need to be able to Pollen Puff it. Incineroar is really good support here. And then I want Kommo-o just so I can like actually switch in decently to like Urshifu and the Wellspring Ogre Pond. But I also can pressure Blood Moon with some pretty heavy hits. We're going to see the Entei and the Urshifu, which is fine here. Okay. Don't burn me turn one. I think a lot of this is going to come down to don't burn me turn one. Kommo-o's a really good spot. I think I'd want to go Kommo-o for the Ting Lu because they're probably going to tar down the Ting Lu. They could double up the Incineroar though. But they also risk me faking out turn one. It's a little bit of a weird spot. I think my best place is just to go Kommo-o for the Ting Lu. Don't get burned turn 1 and parting shot out the Entei. Let's see what they decide to do here. I really don't want Ting Lu burned if possible. I could have knocked off the Assault Vest, but it doesn't really matter here because I don't have any special attackers that I brought into this game. We bring out Kommo. Let's see what they're going to go for. I mean, they want to respect Ting Lu, but we'll see. They do detect and preserve a Focus Ash, which makes sense here. And we're going to see the Sacred Fire come out into Kommo straight away. All right. Moment of Truth. Nice. No burn. We are able to get Parting Shot off into Entei. That's going to significantly reduce that damage output. And afterward, I probably want to Tera with the Kommo. I'm not 100% certain yet. Ting Lu isn't bad here, or do I want to go Amoonguss? Both are pretty good in this position. I'd probably say I want to go Ting Lu, because if Flutter Mane comes in, I could still threaten like a Snarl. Or I could go for a Heavy Slam to break that Sash on the Urshifu, because if it wants to swap out, let's say it goes out into the Flutter Mane, I get a really good spot. So I'm going to go for an Iron Defense in with the Kommo. Or I could go for an immediate Body Press. Like, they don't have good switches in the Body Press, and I don't really need the Iron Defense looking at this. Actually, I do like the idea of doubling up the Urshifu with Body Press plus Heavy Slam. Should pick up the knockout, assuming no burns, but really importantly, if we could get that Flutter Mane on the switch, that would be super ideal. And they could also switch out for the Flutter Mane, though, but I think they might want to fish for burns with Sacred Fire. Let's see what happens here, because I think Urshifu's not in a great spot. I think you still want to keep it around because close combat pressure against the Ting Lu is pretty valuable. So let's see. And if we get rid of Urshifu, that's like nice for my Amoonguss as well as my Incineroar. We are going to see a swap here, which is actually pretty strong for me. Okay. Into, that's Ogerpon, I think. Yeah, okay. So it was that slot they switched. But they close combat actually ate my Kommo, which is fine. It doesn't really do that much damage. Maybe they thought Incineroar was coming in, not risking the Sacred Fire burn. But Kommo's not really the main star of this game. So I am able to get the nice Body Press into Urshifu as well as the Heavy Slam. That's a really, really good turn for me because I get rid of Urshifu. One of their pieces gone, and one of their strongest ways to hit the Amoonguss. As well as the... well, a lot of their fakes get just hit Incineroar, so I don't think that's really that big of an issue. Okay. Let's see who they bring on next. If it's Flutter Mane, I think I actually have a good reason to Tera Ting Lu now because they don't exactly have threats to Tera Poison Ting Lu. I wanted to get rid of Urshifu because that allowed me to like not worry about Wicked Blows through Kommo, the Steel Tera, or I guess Ting Lu's Tera in this case. So it works out. We're gonna see the Entei come back in, which makes sense. I think in this case I want to go Incineroar for the Kommo slot, because the Ting Lu switch is a little bit obvious, and they might Sacred Fire to Ting Lu. I really, really want damage, so don't think they're protecting. I guess I would... who do I think? I probably want Tera Poison here, because I don't think for Rigraph is like that crucial. I'm going to go for the Tera Poison, and I'm going to go for a... I think Stomping Tantrum to Entei is fine. I don't think they're going to follow me. I want to reposition Kommo back in. Kommo is still in a pretty good spot, but the problem was my Ting Lu was also in a kind of an awkward one. So I want to bring in Incineroar, intimidate that Wellspring Ogerpon to make sure that like the damage output isn't crazy, and then bring in my Kommo back in afterward. So we're going to see a Tera come out from Entei. No, Wellspring. Okay, so they're just really going for the damage. I imagine this is Ivy Cudgel then. They could be trying to power through the Kommo, but I don't know if they would double up the Kommo. Maybe they do because maybe their last Pokemon is like Blood Moon. They don't have anything to deal with Kommo, especially outside of Trick Room. That could be a possibility. We'll see. If that's the case, I'm pretty sure that I'm very comfortable with I think I'm very comfortable with Kommo just being able to win the game at that point then. Especially against intimidated Ogerpon. They did go for Stomping Tantrum. Okay, they might have actually doubled the Incineroar because they really might want to try to get this knockout. Ivy Cudgel. No, they targeted Ting Lu. Okay. Nice. We're able to eat the attack very, very nicely. And the Stomping Tantrum going to be super solid into the Entei. Perfect. This is pretty much a safe Amoonguss switch, I think, and just go for that Storming Tantrum again into the Entei. Most likely, I'd assume the Entei is Assault Vest at this point. And just save the Incineroar. Like, I don't see a reason why to sack Incineroar here. This could be Ivy Cudgel targeting. This could be a double up in the Ting Lu, but Ting Lu's not going to go down here, which is pretty important. I get a Amoonguss in, and if they want to trade Entei for, like, the damage in the Ting Lu, that means I just win the game with Amoonguss, I'm pretty sure, because they really do not have a good Amoonguss answer. Granted, the Farigiraf could still be a Pokemon in the bag. I do have to respect the potential possibility of Farigiraf, but I think it's way too passive in this matchup, where I just cannot not see it being like Flutter Mane or the Blood Moon at least. But I am assuming it's probably going to be the Flutter Mane. We're going to see a Spiky Shield from the Ogerpon, probably scared of Fake Out, which is great. They go for Storming Tantrum for the attack in a Ting Lu. We're able to take it, and Storming Tantrum will be able to fire back and KO the Entei. So now we're in a really good spot. Our Amoonguss is not threatened by Sacred Fire, so now we can go for Spores. Looking like a really, really nice setup position here. Let's see if it's Flutter Mane in the back. It is going to be... Oh, that's Blood Moon. Yeah, that is Blood Moon. Okay. I'm pretty sure I could just go for a Spore. I'm going to target down the... probably the Wellspring. No, I want to target the Blood Moon. If I get the Blood Moon, I'm in a good spot, and I'm just going to Snarl. Because if I lower that damage output from the Blood Moon... Seems really strong for Incineroar plus the Kommo-o to sweep in the back. I don't know if this is following me or not. We're gonna see Ivy Cudgel, so they're probably trying to brute force maybe the Amoonguss with Ivy Cudgel. Oh, they don't target the Amoonguss. Okay, they target the Ting Lu. Ting Lu's able to survive, which is beautiful. Probably wanted to get rid of the Ruin ability so that the Blood Moon could maybe go for a Blood Moon KO the Amoonguss, but we do have that Snarl. We are able to survive, and here comes the Blood Moon. Yeah, Amoonguss able to take that, especially with the Snarl and the Ruin. And now, good night onto the Blood Moon Ursaluna. Now I'm just going to go for Spore into the Ogerpon, and I'm just going to go out into Kommo-o, I think. The reason I'm going to make this play is because once Kommo-o's in, we get really heavy damage with Body Press. And because the Blood Moon Ursaluna is now -1 special attack, feeling pretty good about Kommo-o's chances just winning. They probably have to try to get rid of the Ting Lu, but yeah, I just don't think Storming Tantrum damage is just doing anything here. I'd rather save Ting Lu for just having that Ruin ability to lower that special attack. In the worst case, we bring out the Kommo-o, which could start healing if they play passive with Spiky Shield, and if they go for Ivy Cudgel. This is just a... Kommo-o is still hanging around, still very healthy, and now we can set up our Iron Defenses, or we can go for... I'd probably just go for a Body Press immediately. I'd probably just go for a Body Press immediately. Because Hyper Voice is not KOing the Kommo-o, and the only thing that could KO is Blood Moon, so I'm going to go for... Actually, I should Iron Defense. I'm trying to think about Hyper Voice. Hyper Voice crit's an option, but I'd rather just Iron Defense. The reason I'd rather just Iron Defense here is because even if I Body Press the Blood Moon Ursaluna, there's a chance that they could have some early wakes. We're going to see Ogerpon stay asleep. Okay. Rage Powder in case they try to Blood Moon KO the Kommo-o. And if I heal enough HP, then I think I'm set. The Iron Defense, where are the animations? Again. And if they stay asleep, they just lose the game. Perfect. If they Hyper Voice, Kommo-o took some damage, and then like I think I go in Incineroar for my slot, protect Kommo-o, heal back with leftovers. Even if like I'm burning sleep turns on the Ogerpon, I think I'm fine. So I think like the line regardless would have worked. But yeah, now I can just go for a Rage Powder. I could go for a Body Press. And I do threaten very heavy damage. Also, it wasn't Life Orb on the Blood Moon Ursaluna. Damage I got from the Ursaluna was Snarl, so I don't know if it even knocks out. It looks like we're going to see in our sleep turn from the Ogerpon, so that should be a wrap, because I'm pretty sure Body Press at +2 should KO. Yeah, like this thing is insane. So goodbye, Blood Moon Ursaluna. And I I do not think an Ogerpon Wellspring unless it carries Play Rough, because Ogerpon does get access to Play Rough. We've seen Play Rough Heart Flame Ogerpon before. But I do not think this one is going to be the case here. Just going to go for Body Press. Actually, Crit can't knock out Kommo-o. I might as well just Pollen Puff Kommo-o and go for Body Press in case they spike a shield, I guess. But yeah, battle's going to be forfeit because, yeah, they cannot win. Like a crit, Ivy Cudgel's just not doing anything to Kommo-o. Kommo-o has such good defenses. And then we heal back with our Pollen Puff. There really is not anything they can do. They could not break through Amoonguss plus Kommo-o there. All right, we have our Shifu, Heartflame, Ogerpon, Rillaboom, Farigiraf, Incineroar, and the Fluttermane. So this is probably going to be the team that Wolf used to win the Charlotte Regional Championship, as well as like also it did win the Liverpool Regional Championship as well recently. So this is pretty... This is going to be an interesting game for certain. Kommo-o does really well here. They have a really bad Kommo-o matchup with the physical attackers, so they're forced to bring probably Farigiraf and our Fluttermane. So I kind of like the idea of... We have a lot of tools. I do want Incineroar. Incineroar is really good in this matchup. Ting Lu is really good here. Kommo-o is strong. The question is, do I want Porygon too or not? Because I'm not sure. Porygon's not bad here, but I like Amoonguss a lot for Spores and Pollen Puffs. Specifically, it's a good answer to the Urshifu, which having another answer to Urshifu is of course always solid. I think I'm gonna go Ting Lu plus the... I want to say Ting Lu Amoonguss is probably really solid here as a lead. Yeah, I think Ting Lu plus Amoonguss is really solid. It's Incineroar in the back, and then the Kommo-o, because I don't really like Fluttermane in this matchup, and Porygon 2, it's not bad. His Tricker is of course really nice, but when they have a bunch of priority, then I don't think Tricker's really worth it. I just gotta watch out for a few things, which is Sword Stance on the Heartflame Ogerpon, or Fluttermane with Calm Mind, and Farigiraf. But the thing is, Farigiraf can only boost its special attack once, and then if I snarl it once, it's kind of like neutralized in a way. So I don't think that's like too big of an issue. Farigiraf Ogerpon. Okay, that's not a great one here, as we do lead our Ting Lu plus Amoonguss. This is probably just an Incineroar here, though. Incineroar is really strong. I will go in Incineroar and probably just click Stomping Tantrum into the Ogerpon for chip. Yeah, I do like the Incineroar a lot here. So I'm going to go for Stomping Tantrum, get the chip damage. This is probably Sword Stance, which is really passive. They could go for Ivy Cudgel and Psychic, which would also be really nice here. They could go for Hyper Voice, which is fine. I'm not really too worried about the damage output. Let's see about the Intimidate, though. So Sword Stance is going to come out from the Ogerpon, going to be a +1. And Farigiraf, going to go for the Hyper Voice. That's fine. As you can see, it does basically no damage. Farigiraf just not able to do too much right now. And we do get the Stomping Tantrum off into the Ogerpon. Ruination was better, but it's okay here. I'm going to go into Kommo-o, and I'm just going to Parting Shot out the Farigiraf, because Ogerpon's in a really, really weird scenario where it's kind of threatened by Flare Blitz. It's threatened by the Ting Lu. The Farigiraf's in a terrible position. It can't really do much. I feel like a switch from Farigiraf would make a lot of sense here. Yeah, exactly, because it's just not doing anything on the board. And whatever's coming in, like if it's our Shifu, that's perfect. And maybe a Spiky Shield to reposition for Surge Strikes in the upcoming turn. That way they could go for like another Sword Stance and a heavy mount. So now I'm able to get Kommo-o in, and Kommo-o's in a very good spot because it can actually threaten heavy damage here. Yep, perfect. Perfect. Excellent, excellent, excellent. We will get a Party Shot off into the Urshifu. And what's nice is since they switch out to Farigiraf, I don't have to worry about a Throat Spray boost anymore. So the Kommo is looking in a very, very solid spot. We will bring out our Amoonguss, I think, because Amoonguss is going to deter them from going for Surge Strikes. And now we go for a Body Press into the Ogerpon for some pretty heavy damage. We're going to go back in Incineroar. And I'm feeling really, really good about this spot. Wonder what their last is. I wasn't sure if it was going to be Urshifu or whether it was going to be a fake out mon. So pretty interested to see that the Urshifu came out. We're going to go Incineroar again. This is probably U-turn coming out plus whatever the Ogerpon wants to do. Whether Sword Stance or they actually want to fire off an Ivy Cudgel. We're going to see a Tera involved. So this might be Tera Ogerpon. Yep, Tera on the Ogerpon. So it's back at +1, I suppose, because we got 2 Intimidates and then it's Sword Stance, and now it's able to get attack boost. So now it's at +1. I wonder if Body Press knocks out, because I remember just having no bulk. Wow, they Surgery Strikes to Incineroar. Good play on their part. So they read the Amoonguss switching out. Okay. Or maybe they doubled up the Incineroar slot, but I think that's super risky. Let's see. I could have protected 2 and went for the Body Press, which also would have been acceptable, but I don't think it's really necessary. You go for Ivy Cudgel into the Kommo-o. That actually still does a lot of damage. Body Press. Yeah, KO's Ogerpon, which is great. Okay. And they already used their Tera option, which is great. Okay. I think Kommo-o's in a really good spot. The Amoonguss is also able to do a lot of work here. I will go hard into Amoonguss. The question is, do I want to Tera Water or not? Tera Water is in a bad spot, but the thing is that they have Rillaboom in the back, but I don't know if they bring Rillaboom in this game. If it's Flutter Mane, I'd rather have the Tera Steel. I'm going to go for Protective Kommo-o. Or I could set up Iron Defense. Iron Defense isn't too bad. I do think it's probably Flutter Mane in the back. I'm going to go for Iron Defense with Kommo-o. And I'm going to Rage Powder. They're going to retreat or Shifu, which is fine. Flutter Mane? Oh, it is Rillaboom in the back. Okay. That's actually really good for me because... 1, I have the Iron Defense set up. 2, the Farigiraf already used the Stroke Spray, so it's not going to be able to heal anymore. Like, this is actually a really good spot for me. I'll take this. Okay. Set up an Iron Defense. The question is, who do I want to Tera? Do I want to save Tera on... I'm glad I didn't Tera Water Amoonguss. The Psychic's not going to KO. It do a lot. I'm pretty sure I live Surgery Strikes into... Surgery Strikes would have been close. I'm pretty sure I do because I'm very physically defensive, not especially defensive. But with that Leftovers recovery, yeah, like this Kommo-o is just in a really good spot. If I Spored, I'd probably be in a great spot, but of course they probably Psychic with Kommo-o. Now I could just protect Kommo-o. There's not really any reason to double protect. The Giraffe can't set up. So I guess I just double protect here. Probably going to U-turn the next turn and Psychic, I would say. One Hammer into the Amoonguss because they're reading the Ting Lu switch. And Psychic going to come out into the Kommo-o. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. I'm pretty sure I could just Rage Powder and go for a Body Press though. I'm pretty sure I 2-shot the Giraffe. Although I could just Iron Defense again, and I'm pretty sure after... Yeah, I'm going to Iron Defense again, actually. The reason I'm going to Iron Defense is because I'm pretty sure after +4, I guarantee knock out the Farigiraf. And I think that's a better trade, yeah. I'm going to Iron Defense again. I'm going to go for a Rage Powder. Because the problem is if I Body Press the Farigiraf here for a 2-hit knockout... I'm a little bit worried about like the rotations with Rillaboom, and if they get into Trick Room, then they can get Nurse Psychic off, and then that would be kind of annoying. So I think I'd rather just Rage Powder here, and yeah, they're just gonna keep going for these attacks into the Amoonguss, which is fine. I do get another Iron Defense set up, and I don't see how to really break it through the Kommo-o at this point. Psychic. Into Amoonguss, gonna pick up the knockout, but I think I just Tera the Ting Lu now. I don't have to Tera the Ting Lu. I don't see a reason not to. Yeah, I just don't really see a reason not to. This is gonna be the perfect point for Ting Lu to come in. and just click Ruination, I suppose. I mean, I might as well just Tera because there really is no... Yeah, there's no downside for me Terraing the Ting Lu, actually, now that I think about it. I body pressed the Furograph. Go for the Tera because I'm trying to think about, like, oh, can they somehow maneuver against Kommo? I really don't think they can. And I'm just going to go for Ruination, I suppose, in the real. It really does not change anything. They're probably protecting U-turning, but, like, there's nothing that they can do that I see changes this game. Unless they change the sets to maybe, like, I think they would need a move where that lower speed with their Urshifu, like Rock Tomb or Low Sweep or something. They go for Stomping Tantrum, and the Kommo is just, yeah, no damage. Body press at +4. Chaos Furograph, because I know this was a very frail Furograph on the physical side. And yeah, now they just lose the game. Kommo cannot be stopped. Ruination going to come out into the real boom, although it really does not matter at this point. We just go for a body press into the Urshifu. Should probably pick up the knockout. If not, Stomping Tantrum will for the Ting Lu. I don't think... Yeah, they can't break through both of these Pokemon. And yeah, Kommo just absolute monster. They didn't bring the Flutter Mane, which meant, like... They really had nothing to pressure Kommo other than the Furograph, but because, again, I brought Double Dark here, it's really tough for them to get going. We will go for a body press into their Urshifu. We will go for a Stomping Tantrum, double up, and battle should be forfeited. Yep. And that's how good Kommo is against these, like, Fire, Water, Grass cores, especially without, like, I don't know, Play Rough Ogre Pond. Because it just walls them. It just walls, as we see. And as long as you support it well enough, get rid of the Pokemon that threats Kommo, it's so good. Love this mod. Dondozo Tatsugiri with Urshifu, Tornadus, Rillaboom, and Golden Go. Huh. Okay. It's really weird just seeing this kind of combination, but we should be pretty fine here. The Kommo is not really in a great spot, unfortunately. It's really weak again. I mean, it depends on the Dondozo, but if it's unaware Dondozo, then, like, I can't do anything against it. So I think my play is always just bring Porygon. Porygon's really good against this team. I think Ting Lu, because I don't really have the best Golden Go matchup. Incineroar, probably Amoonguss, and Ting Lu. Yeah, I do think those are the four I'm probably bringing. Flutter Mane, a little bit vulnerable to Tailwind offense, and Dondozo doesn't do too much damage. Parasong could be a thing, but not really here. Kommo, it's good, except against a Dondozo Tatsugiri mode, which is really making this awkward. So we're going to be playing a really, really long, slow game with Ting Lu. Let's see if we can handle this correctly, because I do have to make sure I get my timings right. On the bright side, with the Ting Lu, I do have the option to go for the Ruination into Dondozo, and that's a lot of damage I can do on Dondozo, even with this passive mode right here. It looks like we're playing 50-50s from the start. We're going to see the Urshifu and Dondozo. Let's see if it's unaware or not on the Dondozo, because that's actually really huge if it's unaware or... Oh, it's Clear Amulet unaware. That's actually such a big game changer. Yeah, that's a big game changer. The reason that's a big game changer is I can't intimidate the Dondozo. So if it has order up, it can start stacking, which is not great. I'm going to go for a Trick Room, and I'm actually going to go hard into Amoonguss. And the reason I'm going to go for this play is because I think it's the safest route I can go for. The Urshifu can't get a KO with Wicked Blow or Close Combat into the Porygon. And if they want to go Tatsugiri, then I think it's pretty safe. We're going to see the Wicked Blow straight into the Porygon immediately. As you can see, we just don't take that much damage here. Wave Crash into Amoonguss, so they're taking a lot of chip. And they can heal with their Dondozo because they're not leftovers. So this is actually a really good position. Okay. I can go for a Recover with Porygon. Just make sure that it is healthy for this turn. And go for... Actually, do I think I could go for Pollen Puff into Porygon and... I could go for Pollen Puff Tera Blast. But I could also recover Spore, which I kind of like, actually. Yeah, I'm just gonna go for Spore plus the recovered. I don't really lose too much. If they go Tatsugiri, that's fine. That's not Tatsugiri, that's Golden Go. Okay, so we do Spore into the Golden Go. And what's the Dondozo doing? Oh my goodness, that is a big problem. That is a big problem. Okay, so we do get a recover off. That is Fisher Dondozo. We need to get rid of that mon ASAP. I'm going hard into my Ting Lu. Gonna go for the Spore into the Dundozo, I suppose. Because we need pressure on this Golden Go ASAP. Oh, this is gonna be a big problem. Wave Crash Fisher Dundozo. Spore into the Dundozo. For the chip. Nasty Plots on the Golden Go. This is what I think if it was without Fisher, this is fine. They go for Make It Rain though. Okay. That's choice specs. Okay, so that's not too big of a deal. If it's Nasty Plot, it was a lot more threatening to my team. I'll definitely take it. Gonna go for a Ruination in the Dundozo to get the chip. And I'm gonna go hard into, I think, back into Porygon. I could go Incineroar too, but I think Porygon's just better. Because I could threat to a Tera Blast the following turn. So it's a weird position, I'll say that much. We get download, should be special attack. Yep, okay. Oh, they got an immediate wake up, which is not good. Oh, they thankfully went for Fisher and missed again. As we are able to get the Ruination off into the Dundozo. Nice. Make it rain. They crit the Ting Lu, that's fine. It's not really amazing though, because the damage really is building up, but we could go for Storming Tantrum and Tera Blast, I think, into the Dundozo. I don't know if they're going to go Tatsugiri or not. Oh my goodness, they're just really comfortable with spamming Fisher. Also, they have like no speed on that Dundozo. Anyway, they're just missing all these attacks. I thought they were going to go Tatsugiri for the boost, but they're going to give me the Dundozo, which is great. What's been going on, man? You go for another Make It Rain. They're just spamming this Make It Rain, not really doing much damage. Okay, their entire plan was going for Fisher. And even though we did have an answer to Fisher, we had the odds in our favor, I suppose. Even though they missed 3 times and they were supposed to hit one of them technically, but we will take those. We're going to see the Urshifu come out. We can go out into Incineroar for an Intimidate to make sure close combat's not doing that much damage. And we're going to go for... do we want to recover here? I think recover's pretty safe. There's no Trick Room. Yeah, Trick Room expired. I'm a little bit worried about how much they're going to actually do to Porygon, if they're actually able to pick up a knockout or not, but we are going to try to reset the Trick Room here. Or if they didn't switch out... Oh, I guess I could tear it Urshifu if it's dark. We're going to see the final Pokemon being Tornadus. It wasn't actually the Tatsugiri. Okay. This is going to be really coming down to, I think, the Urshifu. Urshifu is going to be pretty big here. Are you going to be Dark Tearing and does Wicked Blow KO to Porygon? Because it looks really close. Okay, it looks like that's not going to be the case. We're going to see the... Perfect. Perfect. So they're not going to Sucker Punch. I'm pretty sure I get a free double up in a Torn. I'm going to go for the double up in a Torn with Knock Off and Ice Beam. The reason I'm going to go for the double up in a Torn is because I don't know if Urshifu's protecting. I don't know if the Torn I'd recover, so I didn't want to risk it. We do go for the Ice Beam, pretty heavy damage. We do get the Knock Off KO into the Torn, which is amazing here. And we're going to see the Urshifu go for Wicked Blow again into... Yeah, it was Cobra Cloak. I didn't want to fake that out, thankfully, and try to recover stall. Like, I have enough tools to win the game now because Ting Lu should be able to come in for free. We have an Amoonguss that's still pretty healthy. At this point, like, I don't really see how to break it through. I guess I'm going to go out into Amoonguss. And we're going to see the Ting Lu, or Golden Go. I'm going to Spore the Urshifu and just knock off the Golden Go, which is super safe. Yeah, I don't really see how to... Like, they could... I think the only way would be Protect and Steel Beam Golden Go. And I don't know... Steel Beam might knock out the Amoonguss at this range if I knock off the Choice Specs. Looks like they just refused to Terra, so I don't know what their Terras are. Maybe they thought I was just going to Flare Blitz. But I wasn't sure if they were like a Terra Fairy Dazzling Gleam Golden Go or if it's just a Terra Steel like standard we see. They are going to go for Make It Rain, but without that Choice Specs, just not doing that much damage to the Amoonguss. And I can just pivot out with Regenerate. So I can Flare Blitz now to Golden Go. I will retreat into Ting Lu. And I guess they could theoretically, like, it's still winnable for them, but they need to get pretty lucky with the Urshifu. And even then, like, I'm pretty sure I have this game on wraps because I think I just am able to pressure the Urshifu with enough damage output that they just lose the game, especially because they have to target my Moongus at least once, which means it does take a Rocky Helmet hit. Let's see if they close combat or Wicked Blow. They stay asleep, so yeah, I think the game's over. And go for a parting shot, I suppose. I mean, I would just Flare Blitz. I've really read it. Last turn of... I would like to just Flare Blitz here, yeah. I'm going to Flare Blitz the Urshifu. I'm going to go out into Moongus. And the reason I'm going to do this is because they could just protect. And if they close combat, that's fine. That's going to be forfeit, yeah. There was not really an out. Other than hitting the fissures, I am so glad that there were no fissures landed in this game now. Because that was stressful otherwise. But Ting Lu actually doing really well in that. Ruination for the Dondozo did help me be able to break through. I guess even without... especially if they did have Tatsugiri, but yeah, I was not expecting the Fisher Dondozo on that specific team. All right, let's go over to games. In game 1, after eliminating the Dark Urshifu early, my opponent had a tough time with no Trick Room for the Blood Moon Ursaluna, and alongside Tera Poison Ting Lu with Kommo-o, they were extremely difficult for my opponent to break through. In game 2, a strong start being able to knock out the Ogre Pawn immediately, and after being able to set up the Iron Defenses with Kommo-o next to Amoonguss being able to redirect the Farigiraf Psychics, Body Press was able to knock out the remaining Pokemon. In game 3, didn't expect Fisher Dondozo, which is probably one of the team's worst matchups, but thankfully it is Fisher. With 3 misses, I was able to survive the Dondozo's barrages, which was very hard with the little damage output that I brought, but thankfully, the endgame was set up. This team was a unique meta call for the regional championship at Liverpool, and after a strong day 1 start, I would have really loved to see how well it could have done in the day 2 setting. But again, a very strong but passive and slow team. You have very little damage output, so you do have to rely on getting into good positions or chipping away at your opponent. If you'd like to check out the details of the team and the creators, they'll be linked in the description down below. But of course, subscribe to the channel for more VGC content as always.